have watched as Kouri has paraded around portraying herself as being widow and victim while trying to profit from the death of my brother. Both by trying to profit from a book about his death and trying to get life insurance and assets that should go exactly where Eric wanted them to his boys.
Kouri Richins facing several charges, including criminal homicide and aggravated murder in the death of her husband, Eric, who was found dead in the family's Utah home from a lethal dose of fentanyl back in 2022. Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter has the background on the case.
No matter if it's a parent, a sibling, or a friend, talking about loss with kids can be a tricky subject.
Joining us now is author of Are You With Me, Kouri Richins.
A year after her husband Eric died, Kouri Richins began a book tour promoting her children's book, which counseled children how to deal with grief. In an interview with ABC4, she explained what inspired her to write the book, Are You With Me?
My husband passed away unexpectedly last year. My kids and I kind of wrote this book on the different emotions and grieving processes that we've experienced last year.
2 months after this television appearance, Richins would be charged in connection to the death of her husband. Back in March of 2022, Kouri called authorities to report her husband, Eric, was dead. A medical examiner would discover 5 times the lethal dosage of fentanyl in his system.
She stated that the last time that she saw Eric alive was between 9:30 and 9:45 p.m. She stated that before going to bed, they had had a drink together to celebrate closing on a house for her business. Around 3 a.m. when she woke, she stated she returned to her own bedroom, got into bed, and felt that Eric was cold to the touch. Based on the interviews that we conducted with those who knew Eric well, all stated that he did not use illicit drugs other than consuming THC gummies on occasion.
They knew that he didn't die of a drug overdose that he had caused himself. They knew that he was suspicious of Kouri, and I think that there's some sense of relief right now. They finally put together what appears to be a very compelling case with evidence, with witnesses.
According to court documents, prosecutors believe Kouri began plotting Eric's murder in January of 2022 when she attempted to change his life insurance policy. Eric was notified and changed it over to his sister. Then, in February of 2022, Kouri contacted an unnamed acquaintance asking for some of the Michael Jackson stuff and received 15 to 30 fentanyl pills. 3 days later, on February 14th, 2022, on Valentine's Day, Eric became very ill after eating a sandwich prepared by his wife, Kouri, and he told a friend he believed Kouri was trying to poison him. About 2 weeks later, Kouri reaches out to her contact again, asking for more fentanyl pills. And on March 4th, 2022, Eric was found dead of a fentanyl overdose.
He was moving money. He was preserving his assets. He was doing what he could to take care of his boys. She had changed the life insurance beneficiary. She had changed his business partner's buy-sell agreement.
Like the months leading up to Eric's death, I would term that, and then what happened after. There are transfers between accounts and amongst accounts.
She had done some things. He knew that something was going on. He alerted his family, and he said, I think she's trying to kill me. And he even went so far as to say, if something happens to me, if something horrible happens to me, I want you to have Kouri investigated.
A year after Eric's death, locked in a $3.6 million estate battle with Eric's sister, Kouri releases her children's book on grief. And just a few months later, on May 8th, Kouri is arrested and charged with criminal homicide and counts of possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute.
I just wanted some story to read to my kids, and it's just comforting to them to know that, you know, they're not living this life alone. Like, Dad is still here, it's just in a different way.
All right, that was Shanley Painter reporting there for us. I want to bring back in my guest still with me, clinical psychologist Dr. Colin King, law enforcement expert Sunny Slaughter, and want to welcome into the conversation former senior special agent with the DEA and the founder and CEO of Global Security Group, David Katz, is with us as well. David, welcome. I'd like to begin with you first, please. Some of the folks on our Kouri TV team are wondering about the poisoning with the fentanyl and whether there would have been any indications in terms of a funny taste or something to poor Eric Richins the night that he drank that Moscow Mule.
Yeah, well, I mean, fentanyl poisoning, if you think about it, it is now the leading cause of death for Americans between the ages of 18 and 45. And presumably, almost all of those are accidental poisonings. So if you take a substance that is that lethal and you weaponize it, as it would happen allegedly in this case, goodness gracious. So it's a very, very toxic substance. And I think we need to all kind of view this in terms of poisoning rather than overdose.
Exactly, David. I intentionally used that word because that's exactly what law enforcement is saying here. He didn't overdose. He wasn't a fentanyl user, that this was given to him unbeknownst to him. And I wonder, David, could she have potentially poisoned herself? We're not talking about medical grade fentanyl here. We're talking about the illicit fentanyl that she got from the dealer, according to police. Could she have poisoned herself in making up that Moscow Mule?
Yeah, I mean, certainly there's no shortage of cases where law enforcement, in particular, when they're responding to a fentanyl seizure or arrest of someone with fentanyl, they get an accidental exposure. But that's generally you know, with larger quantities and with physical skin-on-skin contact where it's atomized in the air. So in this case, I'm guessing she would have taken some precaution against that, but. Very, very good point you raise. It is that kind of substance where even an accidental exposure could be fatal.
And David, thank you for that. Sunny Slaughter, I want to go to you next, please. We know that Eric Richins was suspicious of his wife. He thought that she might be trying to poison him, which makes this case even more tragic, that he was on to the conduct that the state of Utah has alleged against her, and unfortunately, he died. Tell us, please, if someone finds themselves in a situation like this, if someone's watching this program tonight and is suspicious truly of their spouse or their partner, perhaps trying to poison them or do them harm, what advice do you have for them, please?
I would suggest that they leave immediately. Julie, you know, these kind of cases are very personal for me, and with the death of my own brother-in-law, it is very important that not only you have suspicion, but when your suspicion is this deep, when people start moving money, when they start believing and telling others that they believe that their lives are in danger, they should go to contact law enforcement, make a police report, gather the things that they can gather, and leave immediately, because oftentimes we wait for something to happen, and the something that allegedly or potentially happened in this case is the death of the individual who believed he was in danger. We take these things kind of lightly, and often too lightly, and other people don't take them seriously. Oh, well, somebody, you know, they're just angry. We have to start believing people when they say something, when they feel something. We really need to take it seriously.
That's right, Sunny. You know, believe people when they speak out, especially, and we're talking a lot lately about domestic violence situations, and I'm not saying here that Kouri Richins is someone who used violence to control him. That's not what I'm suggesting. But we know oftentimes when someone is an abuser behind closed doors, publicly they put on a very charming face. And so to your point, Sunny, to kind of dovetail off of that, we need to believe people when they say, I'm being abused or something doesn't seem right, because we don't want to minimize what they're experiencing. Trust your gut, essentially, is a good thing to do. Speaking of,
Exactly.
Dr. Colin King, let me bring you in on that point. You know, trusting your gut. You know, Eric Richins had these feelings. did share with some people closest to him that this was going on. Here we have his wife being accused of actually carrying out that murder, and then going on to publicly grieve, publicly position herself as a victim, write a children's book, for crying out loud, make a drawing on the cover that sure looks a lot like it could be, you know, her husband smiling down on one of the kids. If she did what the state of Utah says she did, Dr. King, what kind of person are we dealing with here?
So, you know, I just want to say, so we know that about 50% of marriages end in divorce, and domestic violence is implicated in about 20% of marriages. And then homicide, there's a small percent of homicide that are implicated in our marriages also. But if this played out as it is alleged, I would say that Kouri is a pretty devious person, again, if this is how it actually happened. When people start to manipulate and change wills and start moving money around, and when there's general suspicion about safety, I usually advise people to leave as soon as you can. Now, it's easier said than done because there are children involved. I'm assuming that they share a home together, and it's sometimes very difficult, but you have to weigh the cost of your life versus material possession. So again, if this happened like it did, Kouri is a pretty devious person.
Boy, I could listen to you all night. Unfortunately, I'm being told I have to say goodbye to you all. Excellent analysis, as always. Dr. Colin King, Sonny Slaughter, David Katz, thank you so much for lending us your expertise tonight. We'll look forward to having you back here on Court TV very soon.